Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So this is a third part of my Next.js series where we will be doing project-based learning. And in this video, we will build all features of our contact manager application, enabling users to manage their contact. We will see how to handle forms in client component with server action and do the API integration to make it fully functional. If you have missed the previous part, then you can just click on the card above and jump to it directly. So if this sounds interesting, then stick around. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel or press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So let's get started. Alright guys, so welcome to the third part of our project where we are building a contact manager application, and in the previous two videos we understand the Next.js fundamentals and how the routing happens in Next.js and everything. Then we have also learned about the Next.js authentication, how we do the authentication of a user and have the cookies set for the user. Now in this video we will continue further to build the CRUD operations for our contact manager application, and we will see how we do the data fetching and mutations and how we revalidate the data for the path. So I'm already running my application on the local host 3002, and here is my JSON server which I'm already working. So I can go and get my all the contacts. So here is the users, and if I go here, then we can have our contacts here. Now what we need to do is first let's log in. So I'm going to have the user1 @gmail.com, and I'm going to give the password. If we go to the inspect element and if we go to the application, then whenever we log in, so we are going to set the cookies with the name session, which will contain the information of our logged in user. So let's create the contact page first, or maybe we can create the home page first and then we can come back to the contact page. So I'm going to go to the Visual Studio Code and let me go to the pages first. So I will have my page here and let's work on this page first. So what I will do is first let's start here with the div, and I'm going to give some classes to this. So I have the class name and I'm going to copy paste all the classes because we are not going to much focus on the CSS part. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. And after that what we will do is next we are going to have a div. So let me have a div, and inside this div I'm going to have a class name. So let's have a class name as text center so that we can get content in the center. After that we are going to create an h1 tag. So let me have the h1 tag, and after the h1 I'm going to create a paragraph tag. So for the h1 I'm going to have the welcome to contact manager, and I'm going to give some classes to h1. So we're going to have the text for XL and font as bold. For paragraph what I will do is I'm going to have the manage your contacts easily and efficiently. Okay, I'm going to give the classes. So let's have the class margin top 2, text large, text gray 600. Okay, and then we are going to make use of an image. So let me have an image here, and to image I will need to give a source. So we will be using the next image. So our image is in the public folder. So if I go and check, then we can just use this image. So if you have an image in the public folder, you can just directly use like this contacts.png, and we can give an alt. We can have a contact manager, and let's give some width and height. So I will have the width as 300 and I will have the height as 300, and let's give some classes. So I'm going to give the class as rounded. I want my image to be rounded, and I will have a shadow on that image. So I will have the shadow LG. Okay, all right, and at last I'm just going to create the same div. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to put it here. All right, and I will just remove this one, and here I'm going to have a start managing your contacts today. Now we will just create one more div so that we will have our structure ready. Now we can go and check. So if I go here and if I refresh it, then we see that we have this one, but our image is broken. So let's fix that one. So if I go here and we have the image, and I see that this should be a JPEG image, so I will change it to JPEG, and I see that this div should be closed here so that we get a proper alignment. Now if I go, then we have a simple this home page. So we have this home page. Welcome to the contact manager. Manage your contacts easily and efficiently and start managing your contacts today. Now, if I go and click on the contacts, then we see a contact page. So here what we will need is we are going to list down all our contacts. Now to list down all the contacts, we need to create the APIs for our contact CRUD operation. So let's go and let's do that one. So I'm going to go here and in the APIs, I will just delete this. We don't want this API route now. So I will delete it. And instead of that, we are going to have the contacts API. So I'm going to have the contact.ts. All right. And in this contact.ts, the first thing we need is let's have the constant API URL. And our API URL will be this one. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to put it here. All right. I will just remove this one. So we have this API based URL. Now we will create all the functions. So first function will be export constant get context, and this is going to be an arrow function. Okay, and for the export get context, what we will need is we will need the user ID for which we need all the context. So I'm going to have a user ID of type string. Let me make it async. Now once I have, what I will do is I will have a constant response. This will be equals to the await. Let's have axios dot get. All right, and here I'm going to provide a backtick. Let's have the $API URL slash context, and we need all the context for the user ID. So let me have the user ID and let's give the user ID value here. So I'm going to have the user ID here. Okay, this is going to give me the response, and then I'm simply going to return my response. So I will have the response dot data. So this is what we have for get context. Now we need to have a get contact by ID. So I will have the get contact by ID, and for this we will need an ID. So I will get an ID here. All right, I will have the axios get API URL context, and here we're simply going to have the slash dollar ID. So this is going to give us the context by ID. Next we are going to have an endpoint for our create contact. So I'm going to have the create contact. This is going to be async, and here we need to have the contact and we need to provide the type of the contact. So if I go to my types, let's create the type of the contact. So I'm going to have a contact.ts, and here I'm going to have the export interface contact type. All right, and in this we're going to have the ID which will be of type string. We will have the name of type string. We are going to have the email of type string, and then we are going to have the user ID which will be of type string or undefined. All right, so I'm going to have this and this. Okay, and we make this field all optional. Okay, so we have the contact type. Let's use the contact type here. So I'm going to have the contact type. Now to create the contact, what we will do is we are going to have the contacts here, and then we have to pass the contact we have. So this is what we want to create. So I will have the contact here, and instead of the get, this will get changed to post. Now we will just return the response dot data. So this is what we have the create contact. Next we are going to copy and create a update contact, and we are going to have a delete contact. So let me change this to update contact. This will get changed to delete contact. For delete and update, we will need the ID. So I'm going to copy and put the ID here. So for both the cases, we will need an ID. For update, we will also need the contact that we want to update. So I will have a contact of contact type. Then this is going to get changed to put. We are going to have the contact slash dollar ID. This is the contact that we want to update. Okay, and the last one is the delete one. We are going to get the ID. We are going to have the slash dollar ID, and this will get changed to delete. Then we are going to have return response dot data. So these are all our API functions that we will be using. Now let's use this and get all the contacts and then display them on our contacts page. So if I go to the contacts page, let me go to the contacts, and here I have a contacts page. So here I want to display all my contacts. So first we need to get the logged in user information, for which we need to fetch all the contacts. So to get the logged in user information, we can get it from our cookies session. So what I will do is I will have a constant user, and I will do an await, and I will have the get session. All right, so this is going to give me the user information, and after that what I will do that if there is no user information, so I will have the no user information. Then in that case what I will do is I'm going to have a JSX. So for that JSX I'm going to create a div, and inside the div I will have the please let me have an href. So I will have the href and I will say please log in. Let me have a class name on it. I will have the text blue 600 and then hover underline. Okay, and here I will have login and I will say to view contacts. All right, so it's simply that please log in to view the contacts if a user is not logged in. All right, so that will be the case. And now let's fetch the contacts. So I'm going to have a constant. I will have the contacts and this will be equals to await get contacts. So we get all the contacts but only for the user ID. Alright, so here if I hover, it says the code is unreachable. Okay, so I have to remove this cut and I have to take it out from the condition. Alright, so here we will get the context, but there may be a chances that you don't have any contacts because you haven't created any contacts. In that case, what we will do is, let's say if there are no contacts or the contacts length is equals to 0. So triple equals to 0, then in that case we will return something. So let's return, and I'm going to have a div and I will have please. Okay, let me just copy paste. So I'm going to copy this div and I will just change the text. So I will have please, and here I'm going to have a contact slash new. So I'm going to take a user that please create a contact if you want to see something. All right, so if a user have no contacts, we will ask them please create a contact, and I'm going to change this to add a contact, and here it will be to your contact list. So we are saying that please add a new contact to your contact list. Now if we want to check, what I will do is, first let me go to a logout. Now after logout, let me go to the contact. All right, then you see that please. Okay, I have misspelled the please. Let me correct that. So I will have a please. All right, so here you will see that please log in to view the contact. You will go to the login, and let's say you don't have any contacts. So for now I have one contact, but let me change it to the user ID as 2. Okay, if I go to the data JSON, I'm going to change this to user ID as 2. All right, in that case there is no contact for the user ID 1. So let's go and let's check. So if I go here and let me log in, so I'm going to have the user 1, I will have the password, login. Then you see that please add a contact to your contact list. So if I click on it, then I will go to the new contact page where I will have the form and everything, which we will still going to build that. So everything is working now. What we have to do is, let's change this to 1. Okay, and if I go back here, then now we also get the contacts. If we want to see we are getting contacts or not, so let's have a console.log contacts list, and I'm going to have the contacts. Okay, if I go here and if I go to the inspect element, if I go to the console, if I go to the contacts, then you see we have the contact here. All right, so we can just display this contact and create our contact page. Let's go and let's do that. So I'm going to go here, and in the JSX part, now what I will do is let me have a div, and I'm going to give a class name on it. It will be flex justify between. Then I'm going to have the items center, and I will have the margin bottom as 6. Then we are going to have an h1 tag, and inside the h1 tag we are going to have your contacts. All right, and after that we are going to have an href. So I will have the href. This is going to go to the contact slash new, and we're going to name as add contact. Okay, we need to provide some classes to it. So let's have a classes, and I'm just going to copy paste for the classes. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. And after that we need to have the contact list. So this div is closed, and here we are going to provide a contact list. Right now we don't have any component for the contact list. Let's create that component. So I'm going to go to the components, and here I'm going to have a new, and I will have the contact list dot tsx. All right, let me create the component. I'm going to have here contact list, and here we can just import that. So I will have the contact list. Okay, if we go and check, then we see you have your contacts and you have this add contact. We are seeing this very zoomed. So if I go to the actual screen size, then this is how it looks, but I am showing it in a zoom mode. All right, so we have the contacts. It will go to the new contact page. But if we want to have the contact list, let's write the contact list and display all the contacts that we are fetching. So here you see server contact list. So we have all the contacts. Okay, let's display them. So I will go to the contact list page, and in the contact list, before we do it, we will also need to use some icons. icons. So let's install the React icons. So I will have the npm install React icons. All right, so we have the React icons installed. We can go and verify in the package.json, and we have the React icons. All right, so we can use them. Now here we will start with a class name. We are going to use the space y as 4, and inside that what we will do is we are going to have our context, but we need to get this context as a prop. So let's have the context as a prop. All right, and this will be context of type contact type array. Okay, now from where we will get this prop, let's go to our contact page, and here we are going to have the context equals to context. All right, so this is our prop name, and this is the value of the prop, which is the context we get. Now let's go back here, and now we can just loop through the data. So I will have the context dot map. I'm going to get an individual contact, and in this what we will do is we are going to have a div first, and for that div let's have a key, and we're going to have the key as contact dot id. Now here let's give a class name. So I'm going to have the padding as 4 border rounded lg. Inside that we are going to create another div, and to this div what we will do is we are going to have the class as flex justify between items start. Okay, then we are going to have a div, and then we are going to have an h2 tag where we can define our contact name. So I will have the class name, and for the h2 the class name is text large, and we want the font to be semi bold. So I will have the font as semi bold, and here we will have our contact name. So I will have the contact dot name. Okay, if we go and see how it looks, so this is a simple box. We have our name, contact name. We will show a email address below, so let's have that one. So I will have the h2, and below that let's have a paragraph tag, and inside the paragraph tag I will have the contact dot email. So we will have the name and email. Now we will also need 2 buttons for the edit and delete of this contact. So we have this div. Now below this div I'm going to create another div, and to this div I'm going to give a class name. Let's have the flex items center self center, and give a gap of 3. Then we are going to have a link. So we are going to use the next link, and in that link what we will do is we are going to create an edit icon. So let's have the edit icon as fi edit, and then we can type our edit here. Okay, now on this one I will give a class name so that I can give the color of it. So I will have the color blue 600. Okay, and on this link we need to provide an href. So to edit what we will do is we are going to go to the slash contact slash, and this is our edit page. If we go in the contact we see the edit, and then we have the id. So I will have the edit, and then we will have the id. So that will be contact dot id. Okay, whenever you do edit you will go to this href, and then we give some classes on that. So let me copy those classes. I'm going to copy and I'm going to put it here. If we go and check, then see this is the edit button. Now similarly we will also have a delete button. Let's write the delete button as well. So I'm going to go here, and below the link let's add the delete. Now delete button is very similar to what we had the logout button. So in the nav bar we had the logout button, and we added an interaction on click on the logout button, because logout button has an interaction which is an on click or the event handler. Similarly you cannot use the delete here. So this is a kind of a server component because there is no interaction on it. It's just a display of the data. As for the edit, you have an href, so it is going to just redirect you to the new edit page where you can have the interaction and all those. Yeah, it's a simple link. So you can provide a link, but you cannot add a button interaction on it. So let me create a delete component. So I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to have the delete button dot tsx. Okay, I will have the rsc, I will have the delete button, and I can use the delete button here. So I will have the delete button. All right, and whenever we delete a button we need to pass the contact so that I can know that which contact is need to be deleted. So I will have the contact as well as the id in that contact. So I will have the contact here. Let's create the delete button. So if I go here, then what I will do is first let me create the props. So I will have a type delete button props, and this will be equals to, so I'm going to have my contact of type contact type. So let me have the contact type. I will keep it this optional. Now here we have a prop, so I'm going to have a prop as contact, and the type will be delete button props. Next, what I will do is since we don't have any page for a delete will be a form, and that form is going to have an action, and we're going to have a method, and the method will be post. All right, now inside that I'm going to have a button here, and the button will be let me have a type of that button is submit, and in this what we can have is we can have a trash icon. So I will have the fi trash 2. I will give a class name. Class name will be text red 500, and I will have the text lg. Okay, and then I will write a delete here. Now if you want to check, we can go and check. So I will go here and I will check. This is how the delete look like. We need to provide some more css to it. So if I go and on the button, what we will do is we are going to have a class name. So let me put some classes on the button. So I'm going to copy paste. I will go here and I will paste it. Okay, now it should work fine. So we have the edit and the delete button both. Now what we will do is if we do an on click here, let me have a on click, and we will just take a confirmation from the user that you really want to delete the contact or not. So I will have a on click, which is going to give me an event. I'm going to have an arrow function, and here I'm going to have that if not confirm, and here I will have are you sure you want to delete this contact. Okay, and here what I will do is I'm going to have that event dot prevent default. All right, so now let's check. So if I go here, it says that event handler cannot be passed to a client component prop. Okay, so let's go and let's check. If we go here, then let's make this a use client because this is a client component. So now it should work. If I click on it, you will see are you sure you want to delete this contact. If we click OK, then nothing is going to happen because we did not write the logic for this. So how we write the logic for this? Let's go back here, and we need to have some server actions. So to do the mutation, like we need to create a new contact, we need to update a contact, we need to delete a contact, we need to write the server functions for that. So what I will do is I will go here, I will have the contact.ts. Now let's write the server function for the delete one first. So if I go here, and what I will do is I will have the export constant, I will have the delete contact action, and this is going to be an arrow function. So let me have an arrow function, and we know that whenever we have a server function, we always need to provide an async to that. All right, and in this what we are going to do is first we need to get the id that we want to delete it. So to get the id, what you will do is you will need to have the form data. So you will have here a form data. This will be of type form data. Now once you have the form data, what you will do is first you are trying to get the id. So I will have a constant id, and this will be equals to the form data dot get, and you know how we get the id. We have the id as, and let's have it as a string. Now to get this, there should be an id input on the form. So if we go under delete, here we don't have any input with the name id on the form. So what we can do is we can create a hidden field. So I'm going to have an input, and I'm going to keep the type of this input as hidden because we don't want to display it on the UI. So I will just keep it as a hidden, and I can provide the name as id, and there will be a value to this. So oops, let me have the value, and the value will be contact.id. So we already have a contact here, we just have to get the id. Now this time if we go in our server action, we will be able to get the id. But if we don't have such thing, then in that case it will be undefined or null. Okay, so we have this. Now once we get it, what we will do is let's have a try catch block here. So I'm going to have the try catch block here, and in the try catch block what we will do is I will have the await, and I will delete the contact. So I will have a delete contact API call, and I will pass my ID. Now once this is done, I have to revalidate the path. So you will have a revalidate path from the next cache, and this is actually going to do the automatic mutation and the refresh of the page so that it will just validate the path that there is any change or not. So basically this function is going to allow us to delete the cache data on a specific path. So for that we will have the slash contact. So maybe that we have this contacts got cache, and since we have deleted it, we need to revalidate the cache. So that's how we do the revalidate path on this one. So this is also a very good feature that we get it from the Next.js. Now in this case we will do a console.log, and we will have the error deleting contact, and we log the error. So that's one thing. We will also do a return from here, and we will return the error, and this will be failed to delete contact. Okay, so we have this fail to delete contact. Now in case if we do a revalidate path, then what we will do is we are going to return, and we are going to return a success, and that will be equals to true. All right, so our delete contact action is ready. Now the question is how we are going to use this. So to use this, what we will do is I'm going to go in my contact list, and here I'm going to pass this. So I'm going to have my action, and I will pass my action like this. Okay, so let me have a delete contact action. Okay, and now we need to have this action as a prop in our delete. So what I will do is I'm going to go here, I will have the action as a prop, and whenever you have a prop, it is going to be a function where you have a previous state. So you have a previous state of any, and it will also give you the form data of type form data, and there will be a promise. So let me have a promise, and I'm going to give a promise of any. So now basically what is this? You're getting a server action which is going to have a previous state and a form data. Now if we want to use it in your client component, what you will basically do is first you're going to have it as a prop. All right, and you can also destructure it. So when you destructure it, what you get, basically you get a state and you get a form action which can be used on a form, and this is actually coming from the use action state from React, where you will just provide your action and then you can have it null. Now you can use this form action as an action here. So here you will have the action and we can have a form action here. So that's how you completely use it. So you have the server function here, which is a delete contact. And now when you have this delete contact, what it will give you, it will also give you a previous state, and this previous state will be of type any. All right, so you have the previous state of type any, you have a form data, and if we go to the button, delete button, then here you will have the use action state where you have the state and the action, and this state can be a success state or can be an error state based on whatever is happening in your delete contact action. You have a success written from here and you have an error written from here. Okay, so now the delete part is done. Let's try to delete a contact. So if I go here and we see that functions cannot be passed directly to client components unless we mark them as a use server. Okay, so maybe we created delete contact action as a server function or a server action, but we did not mark that file as a use server. Let's go and let's check. So this was the, okay, so we have to mark this as a use server. So let me have the use server. Okay, now you see we get it. Now if we want to give a try, if I want to delete this and it says are you sure you want to delete this contact, if I click OK, then you see the contact got deleted, and if I go here and if I refresh it, the contact got deleted. Now if we want to create a new contact, we click on add a contact, and now we need to write the add new contact page. So let's write on the JSX part, and then once we have the JSX, we're going to work on the server action for that. So I'm going to go to the Visual Studio Code, and in this I'm going to go first to the new and page.tsx. All right, so here what I will do is this is a new contact page. Let's write a JSX quickly. So here I'm going to have a class name. So let me put the class name as max width md. I will have the max auto padding as 6, background as white, then we are going to have the rounded -lg, then we are going to have the shadow -md. Okay, now after that what we are going to have is I'm going to have my h1, and in the h1 I will write create new contact, and let me give here a class name. So I will have a class name, and this will be text 2xl. I'm going to have the font bold, and I will have the margin bottom as 6. Okay, and then I'm going to have a contact form here. So for now I don't have any component for the contact form. Let me create a component for the contact form. So I'm going to have the contact form.tsx. okay, I'm going to use rsc. I will here have the contact form. Okay, now we can just use this contact form in our new contact page. So I'm going to have the contact form. All right, now in this contact form you're creating a new contact form. So for that, what server action I'm going to pass is, what I will do is I will have the action and I will pass the create. So maybe first let's create it. So I will go to this one, and here I'm going to do a copy. Let me put it here, and this I'm going to change to create contact action. It will also give the same previous state and the form data, but we can just remove this for now. Now we can use this. I will also create the same thing for the update as well. So I'm going to copy, put it here, and I'm going to change this to update. So these are all mutations. So for create, I'm going to copy this and let's use the create here. So I'm going to have the create contact action. Now let's create the contact form. So that's the only thing we needed to do here. Now what we can do is we are going to use the same contact form for creation of a new contact and for editing a contact. So let's do the same thing. If I go to this edit contact also, what I will do is I'm going to just copy this one and I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to just put it. Now here there will be a small difference. We are going to have this as an edit contact. So let me have the edit contact, and for the action here, instead of this create, we are going to have the update contact. But with this we will also need to provide that which contact you need to update. So let me have the contact, and the contact we need to update is a contact. I will also import this. So I'm going to have the contact form. Okay. Now you will also wondering that from where exactly we get this contact. So we will get this contact by using the parameter that we have. So if I go here, then if you click on the edit, so let me go to the contact list. So I'm going to go to the contact list, and in the contact list, if you click on the edit, then you have this contact edit, and then you have this contact ID. So you can get the contact ID from the params, from the URL. Okay. So to get that from the URL, what you will do is you're going to use the params. So I will have the params, and this params will be of type, let me have the params, and here this is going to return a promise. All right, and inside this it is going to have an ID of type string. Now if you want to get it from the params, what you will do is you will have a constant, you will get the ID, and this will be equals from the params, and after that you will do a constant, you will get the contact, and you can use the await. So let me have this async. All right, and I'm going to have this await here as well, and here I'm going to have the await get contact by ID, and let's pass the ID. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Now you need to have a contact form which will contain an action of this one. So let's go and let's check the contact form first, and in the contact form also I'm going to have my props which will be very similar to delete. So I'm going to just copy them, go to the contact form and put it here. Instead of delete, this will be contact form props, and let's import this. So I will have the contact type. Okay, so we have this. Now we can also provide here the props. So I'm going to have the action, and I'm going to have the contact, and these two will be of type of the contact props. Okay, so we have this. Now if you want to give a try, let's go. So if I come here, so this is a create new contact. If I go to the contacts, let me create a contact first. So I'm going to go and add a contact directly into the database. So if I go here, if I go to the database, let's add a contact directly here. All right, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to put it here. I will have this as John, this as John, and this will get changed to user ID, and I'm going to change the user ID as 1. Okay, now we should see something on the screen. If I go here and if I click on the contacts, we get the contact here. Now let me try to edit. Now if I try to edit, then we get this edit contact, and we have this contact form. If we go back here and we here get the contact, let me do a console log. So I will have a console.log, and let me log the contact. The contact to edit is, and here I'm going to have the contact. So let's try to do that. So if I go here again to the contacts, if I click on the edit, then if I go here, then the contact to edit is this one. This is the contact that we want to edit. So we get the contact to edit as well. So that means this is also fine. We get it here, everything, and it works. Now I want to show you that there is another way of using it. Instead of, if you don't want to use it await, let's say you don't want to use await here. Now the reason you don't want to use it await, it's maybe that you don't want to make it async. Then what you can do is, if I remove this, okay, if I remove this, if I remove this, all right, then you're going to get an error here that ID does not exist on type params. Okay, and if I go here, then you will see that you have an error here as well. Now instead of this, what you can do is, as this is a server component, you can just make use of a use param. Okay, and this use, okay, let me go use, you can commit from the React, and you can use param, and here also you can use the use, because here is also, it's an async call, then you will get the use param. Now if I go and check, then if I refresh this page, then here is, you will see that you also get the contact to edit is the same. So this is also a way you can use the use hook to get the async calls. So this is working fine, and the other one is a new, where we will only pass the action. So that's the only difference you're passing. You're having the same contact form, but you're passing an action here, and here you are passing an action along with the contact that you want to edit it. Let's go to the contact form, which is the main component for both the features. So I will come to the contact form where we have the props. We also have this one, the action and the contact. Now here we are going to use the use action state. So I will have the state and form action. This is going to equals to the use action state, and here we are going to have the action, and then I will have null. All right, now once we have this, what we will do next is let's create the form. Okay, so maybe I will use the same form which we had for the login, because the UI will almost the same. So what I will do is I'm going to just copy. So I will have here, I'm going to copy this. Okay, I will go to the contact form and I'm going to add it here. All right, so I have added it here. Now let's make modifications on this. So what I will do is the first change we want is there will be an action, and this is going to be a form action. Okay, next we are going to have a div. We are going to have a label. Let me add in HTML for, and this is going to be a name, and I'm going to change this to name. So we are going to have the name and email address. So I will just copy this and I will also replace with this one. All right, so this is for the name one. So for the name we have the label for name. This is going to change to name. We are going to change this to text. This is going to change to name. Please enter your name required. Then we are going to have the HTML for. This is for the email. I'm going to change this to email. We have the email, enter your email. All right, so we have the name and we also have the email. Now first let's work on the creation part. All right, so we will only focus on creating a new contact. So for this everything is fine. We have this one. Okay, and now what we will do is after that we have the button as well. Type submit, and I'm going to just change the CSS for the button. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to put the CSS here. Now instead of login we are going to have the save contact. Now if you want to give a try, let's try that. So I'm going to go here and we see that the use action has some problem. You are importing a component use action. The React hook only works in the client component. Yes, that's true. So we need to make this as a client component because this is a form. Let's have the use client. Okay, and now it should work. We will go and first create the contact. So if I go to the add contact, and in this add contact what I will do is we need to provide some space here. So let me add that, and here I'm going to have the margin top as 3. Okay, so we have a space here. Let me add a new contact. I'm going to have Dipesh@gmail.com. Now what will happen is when you're going to click on the save contact, it is going to call the form action. And we know that the form action, if we go and check for this one, the form action is create contact action. So let's go to the create contact action. And here we are going to get the previous state and we're going to get the form data. Now with this form data, we can create a new contact. So let's complete this server action. So I'm going to come here. And what we will have that if we don't have this form data, then in that case we are going to have a return, and we are going to return the error. And for the error what we will have is we are going to have the form data is missing. Okay, but if that is not the case, then in that case what we will have a constant user, and we need to get a user session. All right, because we will need to create this new contact under the logged in user. So we are going to have the get session, and this get session is going to give me the user which is logged in. Now let's create a constant and have a new contact. So I'm going to have a new contact, and this new contact will be of type contact type, and here we're going to have the name first. So our name we will get it from the form data dot get, and our field is name of type string. Now we got the name. Similarly we will get the email. So we're going to have the form data dot get, and we are going to get the email as string. The third thing we want is the user ID. So I'm going to have the user ID, and this is going to be user dot ID. And you will notice that I'm not passing the ID. I want that JSON server has a capability to auto create the IDs. So I'm not going to pass any IDs. It's going to generate by themselves. I have the new contact. Now after having the new contact, what I will do is I need to make an API call and send this data. So let's have a try catch block. In the try block, what we will have is we are going to have the await create contact. So let me have the create contact API, and we need to pass our contact. So let me have the new contact. Once we pass the new contact, what we will do is we are going to revalidate the path. So let's revalidate the path. Which part we want to revalidate? We want to revalidate the contact. If this is success, we are going to return a success and the value would be true. But if that's not the case, and if this is an error case, then we are just going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. Okay, error creating contact, and then here I failed to create contact. So this is done. So maybe we can give a try and create a new contact. So if I go here and if I click on save, then I don't see anything is happening. Okay, let's go and let's find out. So if I go to the console, we see that the new contact is done and everything, but we are not doing anything whenever we have this success. So what we will do is we can go to the contact form, and in the contact form we are going to refresh the state. And to do the refresh, what we will be doing is we are going to make use of a use effect. So let's have a use effect here to refresh the state, and I will have that if the state dot success, then in that case what I will do is I'm going to have the router dot push. Okay, now we need to have the router as it is a client component. We can use a router or we can also use a redirect. So let me have a constant router, and this router is equals to the use route in the next navigation. Okay, we're going to have the router. Okay, I made it at the wrong place, so I will cut and I'm going to put it here. Okay, now we have to do a router dot push slash contact. Okay, and we want to refresh it whenever there is a state change or whenever there is a router change. Okay, so now maybe it should work. And we have also seen that if there is an error occurred, we also have an error here and we also have an error here. So we can also display the error state. So I can go here and I can put the error state. So if I go to the here, and here what I will have is I'm going to have the state. If it's an error, then in that case I will just display that error. Okay, I will come here and I'm going to have a div. Let me close that div, and this will be brackets. So I'm going to have this and this will be brackets, and let me have a classes here. So I will have a class text red 500 text sm and my text. So I will have the state dot error. Now here basically you have a required, so you will not be able to do that, but if you want to try, let's try. So I'm going to just remove this as a required, and let's remove the required from here as well. And if I go to my server action, we're checking for a form data. Let's make a change and check for the get name. Okay, very specific. So in that case what we will do is name is missing, and let's give a try now. So if I go here and if I don't put anything and if I just click on the save, then you will see the name is missing. All right, so now what I will do is let me go back and let me put the required again. All right, we have the required, and now let's give a try to create a new contact. So this time what I will do is I'm going to have Dipesh. I will have Dipesh @gmail.com and click on save. And you see when I click on save, a new record is created. If I go here and refresh it, then we have a new record, and you see the ID is auto generated. So a new record is created, and now let's go and let's create a new user and see that whether Dipesh and John are visible on the other user or not. So what I will do is I will go back here and create a new user. So I will go copy and I'm going to add the user 2 to 2. Now the second user doesn't have any contacts, so I'm going to log out and let me log in with the user 2 @gmail.com, and I'm going to have my password. I'm going to click login, and you see I don't have any contact for the user 2. I can create a new contact for the user 2. What I will do is I'm going to have maybe Ajay, and I will have the Ajay @gmail.com. Save, and you will see I have a new contact. If I log out and if I go to the user 1, then I should not be able to see Ajay there. So I will go here and I will have the password, and you see we don't see Ajay here. So that means the creation of our new contact is working. The last part is we need to edit our contact. So to edit our contact, what we will do is if I click on the edit, then you see we don't get the values here. But if I go to the console log, we see that the contact to edit, we have the value here. Let's populate the values here first. Now to populate the values, what we will do is we will just close this. Now we have the contact. We are also passing the contact here. So we have the contact. Let's put a default value to them. So I'm going to come here. I will use a default value, and here I can provide a default value. So if we have a value from contact dot name. Then you put that value. If not, then you keep it as empty. All right. And similarly for this one also, email, I will have the same thing, that if you have the value, you put the email value. If you don't have, you keep it empty. And now if I go, then you will see the values are populated. Let me go back and check. I'm going to click on edit, and you see the values are populated. I'm going to click on John updated. And if I click on save, it will not work. The reason behind is that we don't have a implementation for our update contact. So let's do the implementation for our update contact. So what I will do is I'm going to copy most of the part from here, because update contact will also be very similar how we do the create contact. So I'm going to put it here. Now with the update contact, what you will receive is, so I will just remove this for now. I will get the user session, and then I will have the updated contact of type contact, where I will need to have my name, I will need to have my email and user ID. All right. And then for the try, what we will do is we're going to have the await, and here we're going to have the update contact from our API call. We are going to send the updated contact. Oops, no, it should be updated contact. And here we will also need to pass the ID for which the contact to be updated. Now to get the ID, we will need to have something like this. If I go, and we are going to have the constant ID, and this is going to be equals to the form data dot get ID. But like the delete button, in the delete also we did something like that. If I go to delete button, we actually created a hidden field for the ID. So we will also have to create the hidden field in the contact form as well. So let me go to the contact form. If I go here, I will put this hidden field here. All right. And this is having a contact ID. Now we will get the ID from here. Now if we have the ID, we can pass the ID. Okay. So the first parameter will be the ID, and the second parameter will be the update contact. Okay. If I go to this update contact, we have the ID and we have the contact of type this one. All right. And if I hover on this, it says, okay, so what we will do is we are going to have here, and we're going to type the string. And then we do revalidate path. If it's success, we return true. If it's error, error updating contact, and fail to update contact. Okay. So now let's give a try, and let's try to do that. So I'm going to go back here. If I go here, then I will go to the contacts. I'm going to click on the edit, and I'm going to do an update here. All right. I'm going to click on save, and you see John update. If I want to update this, Dipesh, and I will update Malvia, and if I click on save, then you see Dipesh Malvia. All right, I will log out, and I will try to log in with another user. So I will have the password, and you see we have the another user, which is Ajay. If I want to edit it, then I will have a Ajay edited. Save, it got edited. If I want to delete it, I will click on delete. Okay, and it got deleted, and you see that please add a contact to your contact list. You can go here and you can add again. So let me have a test@gmail.com, and we have the test here. So all our features now are working fine. If we go log out, and let's log into the another user, and I will have the password, and we can see the data. So that's in a nutshell was the complete Next.js part, where we have done the CRUD operations, we have done the authentication, we understood the Next.js fundamentals, and in a nutshell you have everything that you need to know about the Next.js. So that's all I have in this video. I hope you like the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can also connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter for latest updates, and before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel or press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.